So action potentials travel fast, but they can travel even faster and over a much greater distance in neurons that are myelinated. Myelin is an insulating wrapper that's produced by supporting cells in the nervous system called glia, and glial cells surround axon segments. Now, I have three cats. You've met one of them, Nash, and they all like to cause trouble. And one of the things they do that's really annoying is they chew on my cell phone and my laptop charging cords. And they don't chew all the way through, they just eat off the rubber coating on the outside of the wire, which leaves the wire exposed, and it usually slows down the charging speed or sometimes make it not work at all. I always think of myelin as being like the rubber coating on those surrounding wires. It helps to prevent local currents that I was talking about previously from dissipating into the external environment. And by doing that, it gives them an increase in the conduction velocity and the efficiency. When you add up all those small increases in efficiency, we get a big increase in the overall neuron. And you can see that in the graph that's on this slide. If you take a look at the slope representing conduction velocity of the myelinated neuron, you can see that it's much steeper than the unmyelinated neuron. Now, if we take a closer look at a myelinated axon, we can also see that not all membrane segments are myelinated. The ones that are myelinated are referred to as internodes, and the ones that are unmyelinated are referred to as nodes of Ranvier, or as we say here in the US, nodes of Ranvier. For some reason, people always reverse these terms. So I just want to mention once again that internodes are myelinated and nodes aren't. Don't get them confused. Now, using a similar animation as before, we can represent the internodes in the gray shaded boxes. And we can see that when the axon hillock is depolarizing, instead of that local current spreading only a short distance, it can actually travel further all the way through the internode to get to the next node. So we see the current spread rapidly through the internodes and then pause to recharge at the node before spreading rapidly through the next internode again. People often describe this conduction as being saltatory because it looks like the current is jumping from node to node. But I really don't like this term because when we think about jumping, we usually make the assumption that we're jumping over something, like what's being represented here in this picture. But that's actually not the case at all. All of the conduction is taking place within the axon. In other words, the electricity always has to stay within the wire. So this term is a little bit confusing. Now, having these differences in conduction efficiency also means that there are fewer ion channels that's required to move the action potential through the internodes, whereas the unmyelinated nodes have to have a much higher density of channels because they actually have to recharge the action potential. This is one of the reasons why the demyelinating diseases, or diseases that destroy myelin, are so severe, because neurons don't have enough channels to propagate the action potential through the internodes when that myelin is gone. And so the conduction efficiency starts to break down.